I guess this year's Japanese slang term is fute hodo. So if you're not familiar, fute hodo was this year listed as the top Shingo or Ryukogo of the year by the, Shingo Ryukogo show. They went with fute hodo, which is basically a shortening of the name of the TV show Futekisetsu ni mo hodo ga aru, known in English as extremely inappropriate. And I know this is a bad way to start the video, but I'm very, very unexcited about this decision. But I should explain it to you. Now, in the past, this award ceremony was, on the whole, I think, pretty well done. This is the list from 2023, and there are some terms there that I don't think should be there. Like, Atarashi Gakko no Riidazu is awesome. I think they're a great band, but it's not a word, it's a band. I don't think, that just feels like advertising to me. But others like Kairuka Gensho I've talked about, and they are very, very popular terms. And the winner, Are, is, in my opinion, absolutely a great choice. If you're not familiar with this term, it was a term developed by the baseball manager Okada Akinobu, who is now the manager of the Hanshin Tigers. He actually first developed it over a decade ago when he was managing a different team, and he used it as a replacement for the word victory, so calling victory that, in order to basically de-stress people, keep their minds off it by not saying victory. They're just saying, I want that, or we're going to achieve that. He assumed that it would help them perform, and it did. And indeed, in bringing this technique to the Tigers, and that's when it sort of broke into the mainstream and people started talking about Are, it did lead them to the first victory in a very long time. People were very, very excited about it. It was national news. So yeah, I think it's a good Ryukogo. Now, in contrast though, fute hodo is just the shortening of the name of a show which was popular. And indeed, I liked it. I wrote a whole blog post just encouraging people to watch it. I give it a strong B+. It was fine. It won a bunch of awards. But is it the word of the year? I don't even think it's the show of the year in terms of total viewership. And I'm not alone in these kind of complaints. A lot of Japanese people got pretty upset that this was chosen as the word of the year. One survey went out and asked young Japanese people, do you use the words that are in the top 10 of the list? And if you see, very, very few of the words that are chosen hit even 50%, yeah, we use it, with fute hodo hitting 91% of people saying, no, that's not popping off with our generation. As a post by Dr. Jeff Hall notes, live stream of the video announcing this word had people just saying, huh? It means what? Or nani sore, right? Or what is that? Not even having heard the term before. And there are many, many tweets that were very, very popular, getting very high engagement of people expressing that they were upset or even angry about this choice. This person, for instance, got 88k likes proposing that this term should actually be reference to inappropriate reporting, kind of a pun on hodo, which means extend, to hodo, which is, reporting. This person got 12k likes just saying, I've never heard this word before. And there are even joking posts like this artist here who jokes that fute in fute hodo does not mean futekisetsu, but fute, which is wow, it's so thick. Has the girl saying that I will strangle you to death with my unreasonably thick thighs. So yeah, the very selection of fute hodo as word of the year is basically seen as a joke by a lot of the Japanese internet. In fact, there are posts like this one which went into the data for Twitter itself and found that uses of fute hodo on Twitter have basically skyrocketed once it was given first place, and before that really didn't see much use at all. But is this true? Is everyone just not aware that this term actually had a sizable amount of use? Well, I decided to do my job and look into this, and the answer is kinda. If you look at Google Trends, you can see that fute hodo did have a huge spike at the end of this year when it was announced, of course, as word of the year, but there are some bumps before that, and that bump before that you see starts just before March and goes to the end of it. And when did this show first appear? Well, January through March. So people were using fute hodo to refer to Futekisetsu ni mo hodo ga aru while the show was running. And yeah, again, it was a popular show. Now, the show debuted on January 26th, so of course uses of fute hodo start around then, right? No, they actually start a little bit earlier. Indeed, there are posts using fute hodo to refer to the show before the show ran. And the reason why is advertising. The official account for this in December 27th of 2023 even proposed fute hodo as the hashtag/shortening for the show, hoping people that would use it. And not only did they use it, they used it before that tweet. Here's a post 7 days earlier which uses fute hodo to refer to the show. Unsurprisingly then, as Futekisetsu ni mo hodo ga aru ran, while it was live on the air, people were using fute hodo to refer to it not infrequently. And even quite interestingly, I found uses of fute hodo kan, or fute hodo vibes, fute hodo feels, to refer to things that kind of gave the impression of the show. For instance, in this tweet you're seeing now, there are pictures of people with kind of Showa era clothes and haircuts, and they're also singing, and the show has a lot of Showa era clothes and haircuts, and it's a musical. So yeah, those pictures are not actually from fute hodo, but they do give the feel of fute hodo. So fute hodo kan was a term developed within all this wordplay. Its use, of course, continued into March when the final episodes of the show were released. And then after that, actually, and this is to me something very important in selecting a word as word of the year, people started using it not just to refer to the show, but as an actual shortening of futekisetsu ni mo hodo ga aru. In English, they call it extremely inappropriate, but literally means something more like even inappropriateness can go too far. This person here, for instance, uses futehodo to complain about how just hard it is to live. They're a bit socially anxious. This person here uses it to critique the inappropriateness of listening to other people's conversations, then rather than engaging with them in real life, complaining about it online. This person even uses it in a way that feels very natural to complain about the inappropriateness of schools producing rules which just make students' lives harder for no real actual benefit. At least that's their take. So at the end of the day then, do I think that futehodo is a good choice for word of the year? No. Absolutely not. My opinion has not changed at all. I think that UCAN has really dropped the ball on their first time at bat on running this whole new word awards ceremony. That said, I do think that the word actually had more life than I initially expected when I heard the announcement. And unfortunately, I think that by announcing it as number one, it's probably killed it because right now the only uses of futehodo out there are to complain about the choice of futehodo as word of the year or of course to parody it. There was definitely some organic use of the term as an effective shortening, but I don't think that's going to make it now that people just know it as the word linked to the show that everyone's unhappy about. So honestly, at the end of the day, even though my opinion is softened, I still have to say that futehodo ni shingo shou o taeru nante futehodo da na.